Did you know that in the past, people from certain countries were helped by people from other countries, and so the ones that were helped became rich, while the ones who helped became poor? Long, long ago, on the beautiful sunlit island of Bagatao, now a part of the historic town of Magallanes, Sorsogon in the Philippine Isles, Spaniards arrived and made a deal with the local people. The native folk, known today as Magallanes, welcomed them as friends because the Spanish promised to share with them their riches. But the Spanish told them that in order to make this happen, the natives must build for them huge ships called galleons. The galleons would carry mountains of treasure from island to island to help make Spain the richest country in the world, with the promise that, in turn, Spain would give back some of this wealth to the natives. The Spanish made the natives work hard for the galleons. Every male between 16 and 20 years old was told to work in the building 40 days a year. Sailors were picked from among the locals, who would then risk their lives on the ships during perilous storms and pirate attacks. The largest and greatest of all the galleons was named Santísima Trinidad. She looked like a small island moving across the waves as she sailed grandiosely across the vast Pacific Ocean. She was built under the orders of the Governor-General himself, who had earned his position through his genius at sea travel. But behind the breathtaking beauty and immensity of the flagship, native and Spaniard alike toiled from intense labor and endured months in the sea with no sight of land on the ship. The crew's quarters were cramped, and food was limited. One day, the Governor-General himself, having retired from his office, desired to leave the Philippines aboard the Santísima Trinidad. He brought with him his son, only 8 days old. On the way to Mexico, where he would have spent the rest of his days peacefully, a terrible epidemic broke out on the ship. He and his son, along with 72 sailors, died of a severe typhus sickness. The governor's greatest invention was the very thing that brought him down. And who would think that this mighty ship would fall into the hands of the enemy? Well, this would be exactly her fate. During a journey to Acapulco in Mexico, a devastating typhoon broke out at sea, forcing the galleon to sail back to land for repairs. Little did they know that, during the voyage, British ships went to Manila and attacked. While the Santísima Trinidad was sailing back to harbor, 2 British warships saw and chased her. The British sailors saw how big and sturdy the galleon looked, as if she were a mountain on the water. But they were not afraid, because they wanted to take the galleon's riches for themselves. Although the Santísima Trinidad was a powerful ship, her sailors grew fearful. The Spanish authorities who sent her to sea grew overconfident and greedy, not knowing how such a challenge could happen. None of them showed the native sailors how to defend themselves properly, but the men did their best to flee their pursuers. Unfortunately, the captain felt that resistance was useless. The British were simply more prepared for fighting. The Santísima Trinidad surrendered to them, and she was brought to England where her immense treasures were seized by the captains who took her, and by the King of England. The British were proud of their victory, and the captains went home with their families overjoyed with their newfound wealth. The Santísima Trinidad, queen of the galleons and the fruits of the hard labor asked by the Spanish on the natives, was taken apart for scrap. Such was the end of this magnificent ship, an end that brought joy and success not to the people who worked hard to build her, nor to the men who gave up their lives to sail her, nor to the governor who conceived of her, but to the very people whom the ambitious Spaniards wanted to stay away from their prized treasure. Today, not many know of this rich story of hard work, resilience, courage, and ambition of the magnificent galleons and the Santísima Trinidad. Even in Magallanes itself, not all have remembered this great tale. Many people in the town still dream of better days and still toil in the fields and in the seas. Where did all the riches Spain promised them go? Maybe this is why the stories are forgotten. They are not remembered with fondness, nor do they occupy a treasured place in the hearts and traditions of the people. Because in the end, the greed and ambitions of the Spanish merchants and authorities wasted away their sacrifice. Let us learn from this tale, that whenever we ask others for help, and make them promises, we honor our word. Let us be grateful to all those who have willingly and sincerely helped us get to whatever goals we have, and repay them with kindness and friendship. Instead of being blinded by greed and selfishness, let us share our blessings with others, especially those who have helped us get to the places we dream to be.